Yo, did you catch all the iPhone
Hey,
mania?
the Apple Mania. I mean,
Crazy.
it's amazing what that guy Steve Jobs has done for Apple
That
and
famous
this whole
I
thing.
fake mock.
It was
Yeah,
like a gigantic rock concert. I mean, it's just
for like 2 hours.
yeah, it's just unbelievable. And what's funny is, yeah, there was some surprising things, but by and large, we pretty much had already everybody had already guessed what was going to be covered. You know,
Hmm.
of course, number one of, well, a couple number ones, snow leopards coming. You
Hmm.
know, we heard that rumor
Yep.
that that's the
Yep.
next version, and quite frankly, I didn't really hear anything that's going to be new about it. So it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to get excited. You know, it's a snow leopard.
Yeah.
Okay, wow, that's cool. But that's not what everybody came to hear. You know, we know what they came to hear
Yeah.
about, which was
Hmm.
not that one.
iPhone. Really?
iPhone
Not this. This is
3G.
pre. Oh, this is pre-release. This is 3G. Really?
iPhone 3G, which basically
Uh,
is thicker than that, from what I understand, a little bit.
well, there's an extra G in there, and they needed room, so it makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's
You know,
and interestingly, that the back of it is now going to be plastic.
which makes sense from a signal standpoint.
It makes sense because they're trying to make them cheaper because
Right. Well,
the
it's funny you said that.
pricing, which was what wasn't confirmed, but now
Yep.
we get an idea what well we know what he announced is going to cost, which is pretty cheap.
Yeah, 199 for 8 gig, 299 for the 16 gig. No 32 gig. Some people would probably be
Mm-hmm.
miffed about that, but that's very reasonable when compared to other platforms that have 3G smartphones.
I think it's going to totally disrupt the handset market. 199 is not a price point that any smartphone that we've seen looks like it can maintain a
Yeah.
profit structure.
Hmm.
I think this is going to get really interesting. I think Mr. Jobs
Hmm.
did what he wanted to do, and that was he wanted to kick the smartphone market while it was down,
Oh yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
done that. I mean, that's compelling price.
It is now what people have to realize, and I was kind of hot on this topic before the announcements even. People have to realize that the data plan will be more expensive.
I'm sure it will.
Boy, non-positive it will. It'll be $30 a month. $30 a month. When you think about it, that's a 50% increase from what people are paying today. You add that up over a two-year
No,
contract,
that's a 50% increase from what Edge iPhone users are paying today.
right?
There's a
Well, but
lot of AT&T customers that don't have iPhones yet.
that's true. But these folks won't be able to buy this phone anymore. It's
That's
gone.
correct. That's
So
correct.
you don't have a choice. And if you think about it, over the two-year contract, that's an additional $240 that you'd be paying over this.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, you're getting something more for that,
Mm-hmm.
but people have to realize $240 extra just to have the data plan, unlimited, I presume.
Well,
It's
but I mean,
still a good
yeah,
price.
you just got to take it all together, though. I mean,
Yeah.
people are paying for their plan anyway. I mean,
Hmm. Hmm.
I already have an AT&T 3G data plan. Okay,
Right.
and so I guess the big question to me, to myself, is: so you're gonna get an iPhone 3G? I tell you what, that price point makes it very compelling. I'm already paying for the service.
Well, that's true. That's
You
true.
know.
Your case is different than mine because I actually, before the announcement, I actually went to my AT&T account and tried to see if AT&T goofed to put the iPhone stuff up early,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't, and that's because it's not available until July 11th. But
Yeah.
I said upgrade my phone, and
Yeah.
even though this was not subsidized and I paid full price, it says that I am not eligible until December, which is 18 months after I bought this.
Mm-hmm.
I find that very odd. I'm not happy about that.
Hmm.
But I don't know what that means because the iPhone is 199 and 299. So why can't I go out and buy it and
Well,
swap the SIM like
my
that?
my guess is that you can because
I probably
that is
probably
not a subsidized price. Apple announced that's what the price. Well, it doesn't matter. Legally, it's not subsidized because that's what Apple is selling the phone for online. That's
right.
Without service, so it can't be the subsidized price.
Yeah.
Who knows? AT&T may be kicking something into Apple's coffers to get the price that low, but it's not tied to the service. It can't be. So
well,
it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes down. July 11th, that's the big day. Yeah. Yeah. And so you think we're going to have the big lines again?
I'm thinking
that's interesting though. It may surprise. There might be. We don't know. We don't know.
Well, I mean, there's some other features that are going to compel people. The GPS looked really nice.
GPS,
really nice.
Getting that in there is cool.
And then this all ties in with their new, what used to be .Mac, which goes away and now becomes MobileMe.
Yeah.
And
I was asking before we jumped into that because you were touching on what's different of the phone itself.
Okay.
One of the interesting things that I was watching through the keynote that he gave, he did timing tests comparing the iPhone's 3G versus a Nokia 95 and then I think a Trio 750. What did you make of that? How do you think that the iPhone 3G could be faster than 3G on the other phones? I didn't quite get that.
There's only one way it could be faster. The 3G itself, the bandwidth, the throughput is not any faster.
It's the same, right. It's got to be the phone.
So what's the difference?
It's
the difference is the platform and the browser.
The browser. And that's what I was kind of figuring it had to be.
That's what he was...
That was pretty impressive, actually. It was like 36% faster, I think you said.
Well, approaching your Wi-Fi speeds, again...
Yeah.
The browser.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was cool. But yeah, you touched on MobileMe, the new service.
Yeah, so what's up with that? You're an exchange user.
It's replacing .Mac, and interestingly enough, .Mac is going away. I already have a .Mac subscription, so I guess I'm going to be grandfathered into MobileMe. So whenever that happens, and they weren't really clear when that was going to be, like probably in July.
Right.
That it'll be grandfathered in, which will be pretty cool. But yeah, it looks like it's a Web 2.0 Exchange server alternative. Maybe that's the best way to put it.
Sure, that's a good way to put it. Mm-hmm.
So it's on.
What are we waiting to?
I have some audience over here. But anyway, it's. Okay, yeah, I've got a local audience. They don't know that we're recording.
Oh,
that's what they might. I don't know. They're gone. But anyway, yeah, MobileMe. It's basically and I'm looking at one of the pictures that was snapped on from the keynote. It is a push email, contacts, and calendar. And it's designed to work over, I think they said over any web browser, so it's pure Web 2.0. It's a cloud application for Kevin, is what it is. Mm-hmm. And I think where they tried to make their mark with this is the web interface looks very much, as we understand it, to the OS 10 applications, desktop applications, and they look pretty good. So that was it.
It works with the native apps as well, or on a PC, it actually works with Outlook.
Which is going to be where this all gets interesting. It also works with the iPhone, not surprisingly, and from all of the information they gave, which wasn't much, it looks to me like only the iPhone.
And
I think we're gonna see that. Now, you know how this works. There'll be some enterprising developers out there that probably will ultimately make other phones running other platforms like Windows Mobile or S60 or something to work with this. That wouldn't surprise me. But anyway, out of the box, You're right. It's Macs, iPhones, and Windows Outlook.
Right.
So we'll just have to see how well it really works with Outlook. I'm curious, quite frankly, because
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
it's
I mean,
interesting.
I
I didn't
use
see any
Gmail,
mention of I didn't
Outlook.
see any mentions of task or notes either. Um,
Oh,
in
let's
fact,
see.
in fact,
iCloud, Mail,
I'll be
Everything.
surprised if it does because, quite frankly, the Apple desktop applications do not support them with Exchange Server now.
Right.
They don't
Right.
sync them, and from
They're
what I
using the
understand,
tasking.
from what I could gather when I was researching that fact, I think that's a shortcoming in the iSync technology, which has to be behind all this. They
They don't
did
really have a task app. That's the problem. They have it kind of
well,
ahead of one in
but it's
iCloud.
well, yeah, but that's all you need really is that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, MobileMe looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Now, as we get more information, it's going to become apparent, and you're going to start seeing a bunch of people a lot smarter than me
Mhm.
point to the technical shortcomings of MobileMe versus Exchange Server. Exchange Server is a huge platform. I mean,
It is.
it's
It
not
is.
something that you just replace overnight. You
Mhm.
know, the difference, MobileMe looks like it's geared to me towards individual users,
Mhm. Consumers.
using remote access. Whereas Exchange Server is enterprise level,
Exactly.
gigantic solution, not just
Right.
an application. So
Mhm.
it'll just be interesting to see how all this shakes out.
I'm going to make a prediction right now, though.
Uh-oh. What's your prediction?
Just as Outlook Web Access works best on Internet Explorer,
Mm-hmm.
I suspect MobileMe will work best in Safari in terms of the browsers. And that may help with Safari on Windows. Not
Well,
much.
that may be. I think if it's very different,
Mm-hmm.
that that Apple will end up shooting themselves in the foot, quite frankly. I think if you want to be Web 2.0 and cloud computing, as we've been visiting here recently on jkOnTheRun, on the
Yeah.
Run, you need to be browser friendly. I mean,
Yes.
you really do, and I think they will ultimately. Really interesting, some of the slides that they were showing of the different features in MobileMe in the web browser was pretty slick. I mean, it looked pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And they showed testing of what we have now with Exchange Server. I mean, everyone needs to understand that this was nothing new
Oh, no.
technologically.
No.
Where you add an appointment on your iPhone and it instantly appeared on your desktop app.
Yeah.
That
We've had
happens
that
now
before.
with Exchange Server. I mean, I do that all the time. But I mean, this is all very compelling. I mean,
It's at a good
Apple,
price, too,
it's a
compared to
good price,
Exchange.
$99 a year. Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
it. Um,
Yeah.
Now, where these kind of things often fall short, because, like for example, me personally, my own little setup that I have here, I've got the hosted Exchange server. Okay,
Right.
I have a couple of email addresses tapped into that, but that's not the big deal. The big deal is I've been using that Exchange server for almost 6 years.
Yeah. You've got a lot of archive there.
I have a lot of archive.
What do you do?
This is always the what
Data
new
portability.
solutions like this, they
Mhm.
really have to be thinking of addressing this, because if they want people to switch, and obviously they do,
Right.
it's not just a matter of, well, I'll just drop what you got and we'll forget about it.
I
And we'll
agree.
forget about it, Yeah.
Uh, I agree with you. I think there's opportunity there and possibilities for solutions because since they got Outlook supported,
Hmm.
you should be able to do some dragging and dropping. And it's going to take a long time to move from one platform to another, but there's ways to do that.
Yeah.
There's ways to do that through
Yeah.
Outlook, perhaps with third-party tools. The real tricky thing here is for me, I'm actually thinking I probably won't move to MobileMe because Gmail's IMAP may not provide all of the same services, but they are free, and
Yeah.
the web interfaces are pretty darn good. It's like when I go to Google's Calendar, for example, I go on the web, and it's as good as a desktop calendar client for me.
Yeah.
I don't need a client.
Well, no, that's true, but you know this is all aimed at. We know Apple does this all the time.
Yeah.
You know, this is for either the iPhone user that wants a
I think
universal
it's magic.
simple. Well, no, that they want a simple to implement solution. You know,
Hmm?
you they it's aimed primarily, quite frankly, at Mac users who buy the iPhone and they can sign up for MobileMe, or maybe they're already .Mac customers like I am,
Right.
and say, "Wow, all I had to do was tell it, yeah, I want
Sucker.
this stuff to, yeah, I want all this stuff to
Sorry.
synchronize," and it probably will. You know, I just and that's it. You know, and it's gonna get really interesting to watch though as people, the Windows users with Outlook, start trying to do this, and like I said, as some of these people who use other phones besides the iPhone
Right.
starts trying to do this, and they will, and just start seeing how this all shakes out. It's a good concept. I mean, it was a big piece that Apple has been missing. I mean,
Absolutely. Sync is
they
big.
have, you know. It took them a long time to get Exchange server support right with the iPhone, and they know how critical that was. That was very important, and so they understood that, you know, the ability for people to remotely access and to synchronize their stuff is really important to them, and so it'll be interesting to see how MobileMe does. You know,
You know, I have to point out that at one point in the keynote or the announcements, somebody at Apple, and I forget who it was, referred to Active Sync as Active Stink. And
we've actually said that before.
we have, but not in the context that they did. Completely opposite. We've talked about it when you literally tether a phone to a PC.
Right.
They were talking about it as Active Sync with Exchange, which, in my opinion, and I think there were
Active Sync
rock
with Exchange
solid.
works very well.
Rock solid.
No, that's
So,
no question. Over wireless 3G, Active
Yeah.
Sync, and Exchange server are almost bulletproof.
yeah.
And
So,
so that's what they're up against, you know, quite frankly.
sure.
They're going to have to be sure that their MobileMe with the iPhone is that bulletproof. They're going to have to. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this shakes out. You know,
They're
another.
smart.
I know. I was just going to say another thing that I keep thinking about, you holding up your, I guess you would call it 1G iPhone, right?
My 1G, 2G.
Your 1G, 2G iPhone.
First gen 2G.
You know, they did also mention that the iPhone 2.0 firmware or software upgrade, you're going to be able to get that for free.
Exactly.
You know, on your phone. And surprisingly, or at least to me, the iPhone 2.0 software is going to be $10 for me on my iPod Touch.
Right.
And this isn't even an iPhone. Now, I thought that was pretty interesting that they decided to do that. And that's another thing that someone, in fact, I watched the coverage of the keynote today. I was actually sitting in a Starbucks and with some other interested people.
There's a shock.
Yeah, there's a shock. And one of the guys there instantly said when I pointed out that they announced that it was $199 for the iPhone 3G, said, "Wow, the iPod Touch just got really dirt cheap." And you know what? That's going to be interesting to see what they intend to do with the pricing on the iPod Touch now. I mean, it can't be much more because
it doesn't have phone functionality.
It doesn't have all the functionality.
Connectivity.
Yeah, so interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know. The question that I will be asked, because I've already asked it myself, is, will I get one, an iPhone 3G? I don't know. Probably. Like I said, I've already got the service.
Right.
You know, so for me, it's just another gadget.
Yeah.
You know, so initially I would have said no way. $199. Now that becomes like something that is worth it to check it out, if nothing else, since I already have the service.
Right. If I were going to do it, I'd probably go for the 16 gig because I already have an 8 gig, and I would like to have more storage.
Realistically, I probably would too,
sure,
because it's white.
I don't know, though, that I would do this right away because I really don't want to pay an extra $10 a month right now.
Yeah.
I just don't have the need because I have 3G all the time with me on my UMPC, which is
Yeah.
always with me, as well as my phone. So really,
I
what's
don't
the benefit of having it here?
I don't have
For
the
me?
need for one anyway at all, Kevin.
Just because.
But I am thinking about it just because the pricing got cheap enough. Now, interestingly, that the 16 gig, and that wasn't clear to me if they're all white or if white is an available option for the
I
16
think
gig.
they're all white. I believe they're all
If
white.
they're all white, then they're the most desirable to steal for thieves out in public. Don't get the black one. Get the
You're
get the
kind of
white
telling
one.
them
Get
capacity.
white phones. They're more expensive.
Yeah, that's actually, last time I was on the subway, somebody walked past me and he said,
Mhm.
"What's the capacity on your iPhone?" I said, 8 gig. He said, "All right, thanks," and he walked away. But the guy in front of me said 16, and this got ripped off. So you're probably right.
Really?
Now they don't even have. No.
Oh, you're just kidding.
I
Nope.
don't.
So
I wouldn't
anyway,
see
it's
that.
going to be fun to see how this shakes out. July 11th is the big iPhone 3G day.
Mhm.
Not just in the United States, but in, I think they initially are starting in 22 countries, they
A
said.
bunch. Yeah.
And then going up to 70 countries, they've already signed deals to roll out. I'm telling
I'm
you,
hoping it.
they're about to shake up. They're right now there should be, I'm sure there are be some very concerned handset makers all over the world because they have the sales numbers and
Momentum.
the draw and the momentum to really shake things up.
And the marketing. And the marketing. Correct me if I'm
They
wrong,
have it.
but doesn't HSDPA support simultaneous voice and data?
I think so. Yeah. Well,
Okay.
yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
I'm already seeing people comment on friend feed and such saying, "Oh, look, it supports voice and data. You can surf and talk at the same time on the 3G iPhone." I'm sitting here going, you can do that on other devices. I think it's HSDPA that allows
Yeah,
that.
but nobody cares. It says iPhone. It's an iPhone.
It's
Kevin.
marketing. It's marketing.
It's an
It's
iPhone.
magic.
Yeah. In fact, that was another question I'm trying to find it.
What's that?
Oh yeah, in the quotations for the battery life and talk time and all that,
Yeah.
it said that they even get 5 hours battery life of 3G talk. What is that?
What I believe they meant is on a 2G phone we get X amount of talk time. On a 3G
Right.
phone we get 5 hours.
Right.
But my point on there is, but so what? Other 3G phones get at least that. Don't
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was just not clear when they made that when he made that claim.
they?
I'm like
3G is
3G
the-
talk time. Okay, if that's what they mean, fine. But if they kind of implied it was a special kind of talk mode.
Yeah, on the iPhone page
3G.
now, it has talk time for 2G and talk time for 3G. Those
Mm.
are the models, basically.
Mm.
So that's what they meant.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense.
Oh,
And it quoted
distortion.
300 hours of standby on that. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's awesome.
We talked about it on a
24
recent
hours
Mobile
of
Tech Roundup.
standby.
We were laughing at I forget which device it was. I think
What's
it's
the
one of the
other phone?
HTC phone or no,
The
it was the
M71.
Nokia N78. That's what it was. And it was like 320 hours standby time, and we were saying, "Wow, that's like weeks." Who's going to let their phone sit for weeks?
4
But-
months of standby.
There you go. This one's get 300 hours quoted, which means probably closer to 200 hours in real.
Yeah, I think I have about 4 hours of standby in me. That's
Mhm.
I'm done after 4 hours once I get something.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
So
Well-
anyway,
Interesting day.
cool day as we all expected it to be.
Absolutely.
Apple proved once again conclusively they know how to manipulate us all, and we
Including us.
and
They
we.
got us to talk about it.
Well, that's what I said. Us all, and not only do they know how to manipulate us, but we know that they're manipulating us, but we don't care because
It still
they're
works.
Apple. They're Apple.
It just works.
It just works, and it's
Yeah.
just an iPhone.
That's true, it is.
It's
And
just
you know
an
what? I
iPhone.
can't do everything I need to on here yet, so I'm going to go back to my cloud computing setup here with the UMPC.
Will it
Yeah.
start impacting the BlackBerry, Crackberry addicts? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right, I'm going back to, let's see, 3 days now, web only, baby. Woo.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
All right, dude. Well, it's good talking to you here on Apple
You too.
Day.
Catch you
iPhone
later.
Day, and we'll talk to you later.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.